For our next guest, the relationship with local farmers has always been an essential ingredient in how he runs his business. Michael Ballon is a regional pioneer in the farm-to-table movement and is the owner of the Castle Steet Cafe in Berkshire County, Massachusetts, as well as the author of his new book, A Chef's Life, which features 45 short essays along with a few recipes. Welcome to the show, Chef. It's nice to have you here.
Great to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your book.
Well, the book is a celebration of our 25th year in business, and part of it is goes into the relationship between chefs and farmers and how we relate, and the whole local farm buying movement has gotten to be so big. But there are some other essays in the book about food trends and how we eat, and I picked the recipe we're going to do today because it just shows where chefs get inspiration and ideas, and the idea is theme and variation. So this time of year, one of the traditional holiday foods is potato pancakes with applesauce.
Sure.
I love that. But it got me to think, and we also make some other kinds of pancakes in the restaurant, like we serve duck with a wild rice pancake, and that goes well.
Oh, sure.
And it just got me to think about what other kinds of pancakes there might be. And so I said, well, what if a pancake went to Indonesia?
How would it change?
Well, for one thing, it would be made with mung bean sprouts and scallions and ginger.
Okay.
And then it might also use different kinds of soy sauce. Most of us are familiar with kind of regular soy sauce, which is kind of thin and not particularly sweet. But in Indonesia, they make another kind of soy sauce, which is much thicker and sweeter. And I'm just going to put my finger out here for a second, and you can
it's
see
much thicker.
it's
Yeah,
very
you can
thick. It's almost like molasses, but it's delicious. So we're going to use that to create a ginger scallion mung bean pancake with sweet soy sauce.
All right, show me how to do it. Sounds good to me.
And this is also proof that good recipes don't need to be intimidating, and they don't need to have a lot of complicated ingredients. Mung bean sprouts are slightly out of the norm, but most grocery stores and produce markets now sell them. They're not that hard to come by. And I'm just going to coarsely chop these.
Okay.
And the size doesn't matter too much.
Sounds good. And is this something you serve in your restaurant?
We do,
Yeah.
and it's incredibly popular. And you know, again, it's the week after Thanksgiving. A lot of people kind of overdid it last week.
I think that's probably fair to say.
Absolutely. So people are looking for something a little lighter, which this definitely is. So I'm just going to mince some scallions, and there's nothing that is required for this dish that the average person doesn't have at home.
I mean, it does seem like simple ingredients, except maybe the fancy soy sauce.
Yes, and that you can get at actually a lot of grocery stores. But what I like about this is that it's an example of something that's different, but actually tastes good. And I think one of the things, and one of the ways that chefs make mistakes are, how many times have you been to a restaurant and we said, boy, I've never had chocolate cake with broccoli sauce.
Yeah, sometimes the flavors don't
Right,
mix.
so I mean, people need to do things to get attention and notoriety in the food business these days, and a lot of times they come up with some ideas that don't really make sense. But this is an idea which actually, when we taste it in a minute, I think you're going to see that it does make sense.
Oh, very good. Did you always want to be a chef growing up?
No, I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice for a while.
You did? How'd your path change?
I spent the summer in Washington, D.C.
And that did it, huh?
That did it. But I run my own restaurant for the last 25 years, and you know, the Berkshires is not that far away from the New Haven area for anyone who goes to Tanglewood or Jacob's Pillow,
Sure.
And we're right next door to, speaking of old historic theaters, we're right next door to the Mahaly Theater, which is over 100 years old as well. And there's something nice about being downtown in the theater district. Makes for great fun.
Sure.
So I'm just going to turn this thing up just full blast.
All right.
I've got some ginger that's chopped.
We have about a minute left.
Okay. So we're going to get going. And the other thing that we're going to use is Asian-style sesame oil to fry it. And that's one of the distinctive things in this recipe, is that the sesame just goes along with it. We're going to crack a couple of eggs on it.
So you kind of are making a pancake.
Yes.
People
No,
think
we
of
are.
pancake
Right.
with syrup, but you know,
Well, this
with
is,
a twist.
and there's just a little bit of flour here. Yeah, we can turn that down a hair, get one more egg in here.
And I see, it's just the eggs are going to keep this all together,
Right,
right?
that's all it does. And, you know, you don't need a food processor.
It's our Indonesian pancakes. I love it.
And you can smell already the sesame oil.
Yeah, you
It's very
absolutely
aromatic.
can. Now, is the sesame oil healthier or it just gives a better flavor?
Just gives it a better flavor.
Very good. And where can we find your book?
You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at my website, Castle Steet Cafe. And it just gives people an idea about what it's like to be a chef, where chefs get ideas, how the interaction with farmers changes recipes. And
Like a memoir, would you say?
Yes, it is a memoir.
Very good. Oh, and that's coming together very
Yeah.
nicely. Well, Chef, we are going to dig into this at the end of the show.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, if you need the recipe, you can find it on WTNH.com. Just click on Style.